Hey everyone, and welcome to another deep dive. We're going to be unlocking the secrets of scientific discovery today.
Ooh, fun.
And we've got a great guide for this journey.
Who's that?
The one and only Richard Feynman.
Ah, Feynman.
You know,
A truly unique mind.
more than just a brilliant physicist,
Oh, yeah.
but someone who made science feel like an adventure.
Contagious, even.
Exactly. And we've got some awesome source material to work with for this deep dive.
Like what?
Excerpts from Feynman's book,
Okay.
The Pleasure of Finding Things Out,
I love that book.
and a fascinating interview he did back in '79 with Omni magazine.
Wow, going way back.
Yeah, and you know,
What?
this wasn't just some guy in an ivory tower.
Oh, no.
We're talking Manhattan Project Challenger investigation.
Wow, he was in the thick of it.
Feynman was right there when science met the real world.
That's so cool.
So you ready to decode what made Feynman tick?
Absolutely. Let's dive into what made him such a master of unlocking those scientific secrets.
So first things first, how did this scientific legend even get his start?
Yeah, where did this all begin for him?
Well, Feynman's dad played a huge role in shaping his curious mind.
Okay, I can see that.
You know, his book tells this amazing story about how his father sparked his curiosity from a young age.
Oh, it's sweet.
Imagine little Richard being read to from the Encyclopedia Britannica.
Yeah, starting early.
But here's a catch.
Okay.
He wasn't just passively absorbing facts.
So what was he doing?
His father encouraged him to engage with the information, to question it, to visualize it.
So it wasn't just about memorizing.
No, not at all.
Interesting.
It was about
Like
turning everyday observations into opportunities for scientific inquiry.
what kind of observations?
You know, like a bird pecking its feathers.
Okay.
Suddenly every mundane thing becomes a mystery to be solved.
That's a great way to look at it.
And Feynman even talks about how his father would take these abstract concepts from the Britannica and translate them into concrete reality.
Give me an example.
So like if it mentioned a dinosaur 25 feet tall,
Okay.
they'd stop and picture that dinosaur standing in their yard, peering into their window.
Wow. That's a great way to make it real for a kid.
It really is.
So it's like they were bringing those dinosaurs to life in their imagination.
Exactly. And this is something to think about in your own learning.
What's that?
Are you getting the how, but missing the why?
It's deep.
Feynman's point is grasping the core principle makes all the difference.
Yeah, it's like what?
It's like the difference between knowing the ingredients in a cake
Uh-huh.
and understanding the chemistry of baking.
I see.
Feynman wanted to know how the whole damn oven worked.
He wasn't satisfied with just the surface level.
Not at all.
He wanted to go deeper.
And this brings us to another crucial aspect of Feynman's learning style.
Okay, tell me more.
His absolute disdain for rote memorization.
He didn't like memorizing things.
He really struggled with it.
Interesting.
Like he talks about how much he struggled with traditional algebra textbooks.
What didn't he like about them?
They just felt like a bunch of formulas to memorize,
Okay.
not a way to understand the underlying beauty of mathematics.
He wanted to see the beauty in the math.
He wanted to know what X actually meant, not just how to manipulate it on paper.
That makes sense.
I feel like we've all had those moments
Totally.
where we're just going through the motions, memorizing stuff without really getting it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Sure.
For sure. And so Feynman's frustration with rote learning highlights a crucial point.
What's up?
True understanding doesn't come from memorizing facts and formulas.
Okay.
It comes from grasping those fundamental principles, the underlying why behind the how.
So it's about connecting those dots, making those concepts come alive in your mind.
Just like Feynman did with that dinosaur in his backyard.
I love that analogy.
And this thirst for deeper understanding, this drive to go beyond the surface, is what fueled his lifelong passion for science.
He always wanted to know more.
Always.
That's where the real magic happens.
It really is.
When you move past memorization and start to see the connections, the beauty, the wonder of it all.
That's what we're going to explore next.
I can't wait.
How Feynman experienced that wonder and how it shaped his scientific journey.
Let's do it.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm ready when you are.
Let's go. So we've seen how Feynman's curiosity, was ignited early on.
Right from the start.
But what about the discoveries themselves? What kind of, scientific leaps and bounds was this guy making?
Well, one of the things that I think makes Feynman so captivating is how he captures the beauty and wonder of science.
Yeah.
Like his writing is just filled with these poetic descriptions of nature's complexity.
I love that.
Like the way he talks about waves on a seashore.
Yeah, it's like he's revealing the poetry within the laws of physics.
Absolutely.
But then he hits us with this, like,
Oh, what's coming?
this thought-provoking reality check.
Oh, okay.
He says that scientific knowledge alone, no matter how beautiful or insightful, doesn't actually provide moral guidance.
It's just a tool. Yeah, it's a powerful tool. But it's up to us
What do you mean?
to decide how to use it.
Yeah, that's true.
And Feynman was very aware of the potential for science to be misused.
Especially in the wrong hands.
Exactly.
Like people without scientific integrity.
He was a big advocate for what he called bending over backwards to prove yourself wrong.
I love that phrase.
If you're truly committed to scientific truth, you have to constantly challenge your own assumptions.
Right. Be willing to be wrong.
Look for flaws in your own reasoning.
It's about that intellectual honesty.
And he backs this up with this awesome example in his book.
Oh, which one is this?
He talks about how trees are made mostly of air.
Wait, what?
It sounds crazy.
It does.
But when you think about it, the carbon in wood actually comes from carbon dioxide in the atmosphere.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
It's mind-blowing when you realize how much our understanding of the world can shift
Totally.
when we look at things through a scientific lens.
Feynman had this knack for, taking these complex concepts and distilling them into these simple yet profound insights.
Yeah, he was like cracking the code of the universe, but in a way that anyone can understand.
Exactly. He made it accessible.
And speaking of cracking codes, this brings us to Feynman's groundbreaking work on quantum electrodynamics, or QED.
Oh, QED.
Now, I'll admit, this is where things get a little mind-bending for me.
Don't worry, we'll take it slow.
Okay.
Think of it this way. Imagine you're zooming in on the fabric of the universe. Closer and closer until you reach the subatomic level.
Okay.
Down there, the rules of the game change completely.
Oh, wow.
QED is trying to figure out those new super tiny rules.
That's pretty intense.
It is.
But the early calculations in QED kept leading to these nonsensical infinities, right?
Yeah, it was a real problem.
Like the math was literally breaking down.
Exactly.
So what happened?
Well, Feynman, along with two other brilliant physicists,
Okay.
Julian Schwinger and Shinichiro Tominaga,
They joined forces
they did.
to tackle this problem.
And they developed these revolutionary mathematical techniques to handle these infinities.
So they found a way to make the math work,
Yeah,
even when things got super weird down there in the quantum world.
precisely.
And this refined version of QED has become like one of the most successful theories in all of physics.
It's true. Its predictions match experimental results with incredible accuracy.
It's amazing how these fundamental discoveries shape our entire understanding of how the universe works.
They really do.
But Feynman's quest for understanding didn't stop there.
Oh, no.
He was also deeply involved in the world of particle physics.
Oh, yeah. He loved that stuff.
Yeah, no, he was fascinated by hadrons,
Hadrons.
which include things like protons and neutrons, the particles found at the heart of atoms.
Okay.
And when you smash these particles together at incredibly high speeds, you get even more exotic particles.
It's like a whole new world down there.
It is. This is where those giant particle accelerators come into play, right?
Right. Yeah, those massive machines.
The ones that scientists use to explore the building blocks of matter.
Exactly.
Feynman played a key role in helping us understand the fundamental forces at play within these particles,
Including the strong force.
which is what holds the nucleus of an atom together.
It's an incredibly powerful force.
And all this led to the discovery of even smaller particles.
Like what?
Things like quarks and gluons, which are like the tiny cogs and gears that make the whole subatomic machine work.
It's a constant process of discovery.
It really is.
Each new finding opens up new questions,
Yeah.
leading to a deeper and deeper understanding of the universe.
It's like peeling back the layers of an onion.
You know, it's fascinating to me that Feynman's curiosity wasn't just limited to physics.
Yeah, he was interested in everything.
In that Omni interview,
Yeah.
he says with a totally straight face that he could give a lecture on any physiology topic.
He's a curious guy.
He honestly believed that everything is interesting if you just dig deep enough.
It's like, why limit yourself? The world is full of mysteries waiting to be unraveled.
And Feynman embodies that perfectly.
He did.
He even conducted these quirky experiments on himself,
What kind of experiment?
like trying to figure out how his own sense of time worked,
What?
how accurately he could count seconds while doing different things.
So he was like his own personal lab rat.
Exactly. He was constantly observing, experimenting, pushing the boundaries of knowledge,
Even when the subject was himself.
which I think is pretty cool.
It speaks to this incredible sense of playfulness that he brought to science.
It wasn't just about equations and data for him.
It was about this constant sense of discovery.
That joy in figuring out how things worked.
And that's a lesson we can all take to heart,
It is.
whether we're scientists or not.
The world is full of wonder.
Absolutely.
We just have to open our eyes and embrace that spirit of exploration.
So Feynman's curiosity led him to make these breakthroughs in these super complex areas of science.
Right.
But he didn't just stay in the theoretical realm.
Oh, definitely not.
I mean, you mentioned the Challenger investigation earlier.
Yeah.
That had to be a totally different experience for him.
You're right.
Right.
His work on the Challenger disaster really showcases his commitment to scientific integrity
Yeah.
and his remarkable ability to cut through complexity
Yeah.
and get to the heart of a problem.
For those who might not remember all the details,
Yeah.
can you give us a quick recap of what happened with the Challenger?
Sure. So in 1986, the Space Shuttle Challenger tragically broke apart shortly after liftoff,
Oh, wow.
killing all 7 crew members.
It was devastating.
A devastating event for the nation and for the space program.
Yeah.
Feynman was appointed to the Rogers Commission,
Okay.
the independent panel tasked with investigating the cause of the disaster.
And Feynman didn't just go along with the official narrative, right?
No, he really had his own way of digging into things.
He did.
He was just relentless in his pursuit of the truth.
How so?
He pored over technical documents, interviewed engineers and officials, and conducted his own experiments to understand the factors that contributed to the failure.
So he was really thorough.
Extremely.
Didn't he famously demonstrate the problem with the O-rings
He did.
during a televised hearing
Yeah.
with ice water, if I remember correctly?
You have a good memory.
Yeah.
It was a simple but powerful way of explaining a complex concept.
Like, how did that work?
So he took a piece of the O-ring material, submerged it in ice water, and showed how its flexibility was compromised in cold temperatures.
Wow.
A key factor in the Challenger's failure.
That's a really clear demonstration.
It was.
That, cut through all the technical jargon,
Right.
made it clear to everyone.
It really showed his ability to bridge the gap between complex scientific concepts and the public's understanding.
And I think that's a crucial lesson, especially today.
Why is that?
When clear and accurate science communication is so important.
It's more important than ever.
Yeah. Feynman showed us that science doesn't have to be intimidating or inaccessible.
Right.
It's about asking questions, being curious, and finding ways to make complex ideas understandable.
For everyone.
Exactly.
So it's been great diving deep into Feynman's world today.
It has been.
What are some key takeaways for our listeners?
Yeah. What can we learn from this scientific maverick?
That we can apply to our own lives.
Even if we're not physicists.
For me, Feynman's legacy is all about the power of curiosity.
Yeah.
He approached everything with this infectious sense of wonder, this insatiable thirst for knowledge.
That's something we can all cultivate.
It is.
Regardless of our field.
Or expertise.
It's like he say,
Right.
Don't just accept things at face value.
Yeah.
Ask why. Dig deeper.
Exactly.
There's always more to discover.
There really is.
And I love how, he was also playful
Yeah.
in his pursuit of knowledge.
He wasn't afraid to experiment, to tinker, to get things wrong.
It's so
And that intellectual honesty, that commitment to bending over backwards to prove yourself wrong.
It's crucial in today's world
It really is.
where misinformation and bias
Can cloud our judgment.
Exactly. Feynman's approach to science was marked by a deep humility,
Uh-huh.
a recognition that we don't have all the answers.
And we should always be open to new ideas.
Yeah, even if they challenge our existing beliefs.
So what are your final thoughts?
As we wrap up this deep dive into the mind of Richard Feynman, I'm just left with this overwhelming sense of inspiration.
I agree.
He showed us that science is not just about facts and formulas, it's about this incredible journey of discovery.
It's a journey that's open to all of us.
And to our listeners, I'll leave you with this. What sparks your curiosity?
Good question.
What mysteries are waiting to be explored in your own life?
Remember, the world is full of wonder.
It is.
All you have to do is open your eyes, embrace the unknown, and never stop asking why.